Good morning to all distinguished participants, faculty members, academic leaders, quality professionals, and esteemed colleagues. A warm welcome to Day 5 Faculty Development Program on NAAC 2026 and its framework. The theme of today's session is Peer Team Visit, Assessment, and Post Accreditation Strategy. This program is particularly significant because accreditation should not be viewed merely as the process of obtaining grade. It should be understood as a systematic institutional journey towards quality assurance, continuous improvement, accountability, and excellence. Let us now go through the today's session roadmap. Let us begin by understanding the four major pillars of today's session. The first pillar is preparing for the peer team visit. Institutional readiness requires proper documentation, systematic evidence management, and effective briefing of all key stakeholders before the peer team arrives. The second pillar is understanding the assessment process. We will examine how the peer team validates the self-study report, interacts with institutional stakeholders, observes facilities, and evaluates evidence available on campus. The third pillar is maximizing institutional strength. Every institution has its own distinctive practices, achievements, and contributions. These strength must be presented confidently, systematically, and most importantly with measurable evidence. The fourth pillar is post-accreditation strategy. Accreditation does not conclude when the grade is announced. Instead, the institution must use the outcome as a foundation for continuous quality enhancement. Therefore, today's discussion will take us from readiness to assessment, from assessment to accreditation, and from accreditation to sustained quality improvement. Let us now recap the NAAC accreditation journey. Let us quickly revisit the accreditation journey. The process begins with IIQA and SSR submission. This is followed by data and document verification. The next important stage is the peer team visit. Following the visit, the institution proceeds through assessment and grading. Finally, the institution enters the post-accreditation phase. Today's session focuses particularly on the third, fourth, and fifth stages of this journey. Our objective is to understand how an institution should prepare for the peer team, how the assessment process operates, and how quality improvement should continue after the accreditation outcome. The most important message here is that accreditation should be viewed as a continuous quality journey rather than a one-time institutional exercise. Let us discuss about the pre-visit preparation process. Let us now discuss institutional readiness before the peer team visit. The first requirement is to keep the self-study report, AQAR, and relevant quality data ready for cross-verification. Every claim made in the institutional report should be supported by appropriate documentary evidence. Second thing, the physical and digital infrastructure of the institutions must reflect what has been reported. Laboratories, classrooms, library facilities, digital resources, and other institutional facilities should demonstrate consistency between documentation and actual practice. Third important thing, all stakeholders must be properly briefed out. Faculty members, students, alumni, parents, and staff should understand their respective roles and should be able to communicate their genuine institutional experiences. The institution should also rehearse the visit schedule, including presentations, campus visits, and committee interactions. Documentary evidence should be systematically arranged, criterion wise, and should be readily retrievable. Finally, an IQAC lead coordination team should be established to manage communication, logistics, documentation, and hospitality. The key principle is very simple. Preparation should create confidence, not artificial performance. Let us discuss the team composition and role during peer team visits. Let us understand who constitute the peer team and what are the major responsibilities. A team may include a chairperson, generally a senior academician or a former vice chancellor, along with a member coordinator who has experience in quality related activities. Additional members may be drawn from relevant disciplines or sectors. The peer team is nominated from the pool of trained assessors. The fundamental responsibility of the peer team is to validate the self study report against the actual ground reality of the institution. The team interacts with the different stakeholders, including faculty members, students, alumni, parents, and employers. It observes teaching learning processes, infrastructure, and support services. It also examines institutional practices relating to quality sustenance and institutional distinctiveness. Finally, the peer team prepares its report incorporating its observations. Therefore, institutions should understand that the peer team is not merely inspecting documents, it is attempting to understand the quality ecosystem of the institution as a whole. Let's now understand the mechanism of typical peer team visit. The first stage in the peer team visit is the opening meeting. The institution formally welcomes the team and provides an overview of the institution. The second stage is document verification. The claims presented in the self study report are cross checked with institutional records, registers, and supporting evidence. The third stage is campus walkthrough. The team may inspect classrooms, laboratories, library facilities, sports facilities, and other support infrastructure. The fourth stage is stakeholder interaction. This is a particularly important component because direct interaction can provide valuable insight into institutional practices and experiences. Faculty members, students, alumni, parents, and employees may interact with the team. The final stage is the exit meeting. The peer team may share broad observations before departure while the formal report follows through the prescribed process. Institutions should therefore ensure that every stage is supported by preparedness, coordination, transparency, and professionalism. What institution should do during the visit? During the peer team visit, the first principle is transparency. Institution should present fact as they are and support their claims with credible evidence. Second thing, all stakeholders should be involved appropriately. Faculty members, students, and other stakeholders should understand the institution's genuine practices rather than memorizing artificial responses. Third important thing, institutions should confidently showcase their distinctiveness and best practices. Every institution should be able to answer a fundamental question. What makes this institution more distinctive and what measurable value does it create for its stakeholders? Documentation should remain criterion wise, properly indexed, and easy to retrieve. The visit schedule should be realistic and punctual. Finally, institutions should extend their professional hospitality to the peer team to the greatest extent. Professional hospitality, however, should never replace evidence based institutional quality. The strongest presentation is always one in which evidence, practice, and stakeholder experience are aligned. So, during the visit, what are the common pitfalls to be avoided? Let us now consider some common pitfalls. First thing, institutions should avoid making inflated or unverifiable claims in the self-study report. Second thing, stakeholder responses should never be artificially scripted or coached. Third thing, documentation should not be disorganized or difficult to trace. Fourth one, the peer team visit should not be treated as a one-time event. The visit is a review of an ongoing quality system. Institutions should also avoid overcrowding the schedule because Genuine interaction requires sufficient time. Most important thing, institutions should not become defensive when observations are made. Constructive observation should be treated as opportunities for better improvement in future. A mature quality culture does not attempt to hide weakness. Instead, it identifies gaps, addresses them systematically, and demonstrates evidence for better improvement. Let us now understand the assessment covering all the 7 criteria. Let us now move towards the assessment process. The peer team evaluates the institutional performance across 7 weighted criteria of the NAAC framework. These criteria provide a structured mechanism for understanding different dimensions of institutional quality. It is important for every institution to understand that claims made in the self-study report must be mapped to appropriate evidence under the corresponding criterion and metric. The institution should therefore establish a clear relationship between claim evidence, practice outcome, and impact. Institutions should also remember that the applicable weightage may vary depending on the type of institutions and the current NAAC framework. Therefore, the latest applicable manual should always be consulted while preparing the final institutional documentation. The objective should not simply be to collect documents. Objective should be to demonstrate credible institutional performance through verifiable evidence. Let us discuss the outcome of the peer team visit from assessment to grading. Let us now understand the broad movement from assessment towards grading. The presentation identifies 7 criteria covering curricular aspects, teaching, learning, and evaluation, research, innovations and extension, infrastructure and learning resources, student support and progression, governance, leadership and management, and institutional values and best practices. Each criterion is evaluated through relevant indicators. The scores from the criteria are combined according to the applicable weightage. This contribution this contributes to the institution cumulative grade point average or CGPA on the 4-point scale described in the presentation. The CGPA is then mapped to the applicable grade. The presentation provides an illustrative grade scale ranging from A++ through C. However, institution must carefully refer to the current applicable NAAC manual for the exact methodology and grade cutoffs relevant to their institutional category. The important lesson is that institutional performance must be developed systematically across all relevant dimensions rather than focusing on only 1 or 2 areas. The next thing we shall discuss about the post accreditation. Why this process is very important. We now arrive at one of the most important themes of today's session, post accreditation strategy. Accreditation is a journey, not a one time event. The real work of quality begins after the grade is announced. Accreditation can enhance institutional credibility and strengthen the confidence of students, parents, funding agencies, and regulatory stakeholders. It can also support continuous institutional growth by transforming short term preparation into a sustainable culture of quality improvement. Furthermore, strong institutional quality systems can contribute to institutional recognition, ranking, and other opportunities subject to applicable requirements. Most important thing, accreditation can strengthen stakeholder confidence. Therefore, institutions should never allow the momentum created during accreditation preparation to disappear after the certificate is received. Instead, that momentum should become the foundation for the next stage of institutional development. Next one is sustaining excellence through post-accreditation strategy. Let us now look at the major components of sustainable post-accreditation strategy. First thing is strengthen the IQAC cell. The internal quality assurance cell should remain active throughout the year and should not become active only when the next accreditation visit approaches. Second thing, ensure timely AQR filing and systematic monitoring of institutional progress. Third one, act on the recommendations and observations emerging from the assessment process. These observations should be converted into a concrete, measurable, and time bound action plan. Fourth one, institutionalize the best practices. Successful initiatives should become part of the institutional policy and the systems rather than remaining isolated activities. Fifth one, establish continuous data tracking. Institutions should systematically monitor outcomes related to research, placements, students' progression, feedback, and other relevant performance indicators. Finally, begin preparing for the next accreditation cycle from the very beginning. The next cycle should not be treated as something that starts only in the final year. Evidence building should begin from year one. Next thing we shall discuss about the importance of continuous quality improvement, PDCA for institutions, a living cycle. Continuous quality improvement brings us to the concept of PDCA cycle, plan, do, check and act. The PDCA approach provides a practical framework for continuous institutional improvement. The first stage is planning. Set quality objectives based on the self-study report, peer team feedback, and institutional priorities. Second stage is do. Implement improvement initiatives across departments and functional areas. Third one is check, monitor outcomes through IQAC, AQAR processes, and appropriate institutional performance indicators. Fourth one is act, review the results, refine policies, and institutionalize successful practices. Then the cycle begins again. This is how an institution moves from accreditation preparation towards a living culture of quality improvement, continuous quality improvement. The objective is not merely to achieve accreditation. The objective is to create a sustainable system in which quality becomes part of the institution's everyday functioning. Now, finally, we came to the closing thoughts of today's day 5 faculty development program. As we conclude day 5 of this FTP, let us remember a few essential principles. First thing, prepare yearly. Readiness for a peer team visit is built over months and years, not merely during the final few days. Second thing, be transparent. Allow institutional evidence and genuine stakeholder experiences to communicate the true strength of the institutions. Third one, understand the criteria and applicable weightage. A clear understanding of the assessment framework enables the institution to present their strength systematically and confidently. Fourth one, treat the grade as a milestone, not as the destination. The real objective is continuous improvement through effective IQAC functioning, systematic AQAR processes, and evidence based institutional planning. And finally, plan well, present the best, improve continuously. Let us remember the central message of today's session. Accreditation is a journey and not an event. I sincerely thank all the distinguished participants, faculty members, academic leaders, and quality professionals for their active participation throughout this 5-day faculty development program on NAAC 2026 and its framework. I hope that the insights shared during these sessions will support your institutions in strengthening quality systems, improving institutional practices, and building a sustainable culture of the excellence. With these words, I conclude day 5 of the faculty development program. Thank you very much. Wishing your institution continued success in its journey towards quality excellence and continuous improvement. Thank you and best wishes for your continued academic and institutional excellence.